Barca are looking more like champions. When they don't win with football, they win with two pair. Well, you guys can already imagine. And Madrid? Well, Madrid, let's just get started. Welcome to the recap. Manny, how you doing today, brother?
I'm chilling, Juan. How you doing?
Good, good, good. La Liga title race, Barcelona's dramatic comeback victory, showed that Barcelona are a team that when football is lacking, they have something extra. They have that motivation of a champion. With Raphinha's stoppage time penalty to not only clinch the victory, but also extend their lead at the top of La Liga to 4 points over Real Madrid. This match emphasized the team's determination and fighting spirit as they edge closer to the title. Did Barcelona just prove that they got the heart of a champion with the only remontada in Spain?
Madrid didn't have to remontar because they were winning.
That's true. That's true. But it seems like Barcelona's winning these games that win you the league. Like, for example, they go 3-1 with a couple of errors from the defense, from the goalkeeper, and you turn it around in 20 minutes. That's a character and the attitude you need for a team to become champions and to eventually win the league.
Oh yeah, for sure. They don't just die down. They don't lay down for anybody. You could tell that they want to win. They're really playing for something.
Did you see the penalty? It was a penalty. It was a straight penalty. Who was it? Danny Olmo got hit from the back of the leg. It's not like, what they say the league is rigged. The league is trying to give the league's trying to give the league to Barcelona. No, it was a straight penalty.
My social media is going crazy with some scandals out there.
Yeah, dude. And then also Raphinha had another stellar performance. Raphinha was instrumental in the comeback, scoring twice, including the decisive at the 98th minute penalty. Is Raphinha Ballon d'Or form on lock?
Yeah, I think he might have heard, people saying that his performance has been dipping, he's been out of form lately, and I guess he heard the noise and he just decided to step it up a notch.
Dude, I heard that with country and club, Raphinha is at 60 plus G goals and assists. Isn't that crazy?
It's some old Ronaldo, Messi numbers, which could definitely earn you a Ballon d'Or. But Mohamed Salah, he's also putting up some Messi type numbers.
Correct, correct. But I think unfortunately for Salah, he's been knocked out of the Champions League, and I think the only trophy realistically they're winning, or they're going to win it, is the Prem, which the Prem is still a very hard, league to win.
Yeah, definitely. I think getting knocked out of all these competitions has definitely hurt Salah's chances. I do see Raphinha leading the way.
Yeah, but I want to get into a little bit of Hansi Flick. Interesting how Rafinha, like 2 weeks ago, it seemed like his head was gone, but his attitude, his mindset was a little different. Little by little, Hansi Flick has been able to bring him in again, and now it seems like he's back to Ballon d'Or Rafinha status. He don't miss, bro. He's clutch. He looks like he's gliding to the field. He doesn't look tired.
Yeah, I think Flick's system definitely suits Raphinha because you can tell by the way that he's just getting set up to get some easy goals sometimes, and he just even if he's having a bad game, it just seems he's always going to score.
And now, Hansi Flick, he brought in Lamine Yamal and Dani Olmo to speed up the game, especially in the attack. Lamine Yamal and Dani Olmo significantly influenced the game's outcome. Yamal's creative dribbling and Olmo's goals pivotal in the shifting of the momentum into Barca's favor. Their performance highlights the squad depth and versatility. Are we starting to see masterclasses from Hansi Flick where he's tactically better than his rival?
No, definitely. Madrid doesn't play with any tactics at the moment, and Flick's system has just been dominating all of Europe. Not just Spain. So shout out to Flick. He's doing his thing. He's showing what a good manager can do to a team.
Right. Also, let's talk about the depth of Barca's squad. It's a squad where have four or five midfielders that are fighting for a starting position. You have a squad where obviously Raphinha, Lewandowski, and Yamal are starters, but you got people like Fran Torres, who's doing better numbers. I think Rodrigo and Endrick, I mean poor Endrick. And then you have a guy like Pau Victor that can come in and runs his butt out, and can actually score too. Do you think that's something that's putting them ahead of other teams, that their squad depth is that good and
I
talented?
don't I don't think they're as deep as you think. You saw the match against Borussia Dortmund. It got real close in the end. So I think y'all do need to invest in some rotation guys.
Now Barcelona's financial status is nowhere to be investing in players, so you got to bring guys from the academy. It's been proven through the years that it works.
Yeah, yeah, something's going on at Barca's Academy. They need to be studied. They
Yeah,
just find gems.
they do, and it's done a great job to be able to, give a more physical aspect to the squad that's already talented. And it's just making them more complete players. But also, it's Flick has his ways, and he wants to play, with the players that he feels that he's confident with. For example, like Ansu Fati. I remember when Ansu Fati was the next great thing, and now he can't get a minute.
Isn't Barcelona gonna get rid of him
Yeah,
at the end of the season?
they were supposed to get rid of him last season or at the end of last season, beginning of this season, but Ansu Fati want to move, and they're saying that blocked the Marcus Rashford loan to Barcelona.
Is that who you want to bring? You want to bring Marcus Rashford?
Why not? You bring somebody else that can fight with Ferran Torres. I know Ferran wants to stay at Barcelona, but I don't know how long he's going to be able to stay at Barcelona. His form and how he's playing, a Prem team's going to want to buy him.
I'm not a big fan of Rashford. I believe y'all are better off without him. But if that's who y'all want, y'all go ahead and get him.
Now, let's talk about your team, Manny. Manny, don't get scared, brother. The offensive struggles against a opponent, despite facing the athletic side that rotated heavily after the European League commitment. How does Real Madrid need 23 shots and 75 possession to score one stoppage time goal against an Atletico B team?
I think most of the players have checked out. I don't think they want to play for Ancelotti anymore. They're out of the Champions League. They didn't win the Super Cup. It's just not been their year. I believe some of them have checked out. Yesterday, it looked like only Vinicius and Valverde wanted to be out there. So I think that played a factor into it.
But what do you mean they checked out? Is it they're depressed? Is it they're done? Is it they're going to do la cama to Ancelotti? What are we talking about? Checked out.
Fatigue, Ancelotti doesn't really rotate them. He plays them about 85 minutes each. So I think they're just done with Ancelotti and his system.
So they're just done with Ancelotti in the system. But overall, you're not playing for Ancelotti. You're playing for the badge. You're playing for the honor.
A lot of our players are young, our veterans are, Vinny, Rodrigo, and there's still some young guys. So, maybe they just haven't like matured completely. You see Vinicius arguing with refs, arguing with the crowd, maybe they have just mentally checked out for the season.
Do you think the fact that they're an inferior team, that every big game they played, they've lost, has done damage to them?
We've played soccer, at like an amateur level. When you see a team that's not as good as you, sometimes you tend to like let off the gas.
Uh-huh.
You think little of them, and sometimes they can catch you off guard. Maybe Madrid didn't. They just thought they could cruise to a win, and I mean, they did manage to pull it out, but
I
it was
feel
not a
that
good game.
I feel that's been Madrid's strategy the whole year. Once they got Mbappe, they were like, "Oh, we're gonna cruise to a million league titles and a million Champions Leagues." But guess what? You've been knocked out, and you're in second place, 4 points away from the first place. So the league is not in your hands, And on Saturday, you have a chance to go against biggest rival.
Yeah, hopefully they can bounce back. They can check themselves back in, be like, hey guys, like we're still in this. Let's just fight to the end and see what happens. So you never know how it goes.
You think that's something that's missing from these young players is the mentality, the winning mentality that the Real Madrid fans say we fight to the end. And they're just fighting to the 15-minute mark, and then they're just done.
Madrid's shown over the years that they have that championship mentality. You don't win Champions Leagues, you don't pull out remontadas, win titles without having that killer mentality. But it's just something's going on this year, and it's the injuries, the fatigue. I guess morale is down with they're done with Ancelotti and whatnot and being out of competitions.
So maybe some of these guys are not hungry anymore. They've won so much. They win a game and they don't. It's okay to them.
I don't think that's the problem. Why not go for 16? Why not go for another league title? I don't think they don't want to win, but I think it's just it's the current system. There's no tactics being played. Nobody's gonna get rotated. They're gonna play until they're exhausted. There was a play in the game yesterday where Jude just fell to his knees, and I understand him. He's been playing every game when he's available. He plays 90 minutes. Sometimes he plays 120 minutes. It catches up to you. You can only go for so long.
Right. Talking about Jude Bellingham had a notable chance with a close range header, but was denied by goalkeeper Unai Simon. Similarly to Vinicius Jr. had a goal disallowed due to an offside in the build-up. When Bellingham misses sitters and Vinny's goals don't count, is Real Madrid entire game plan just hoping on a miracle at the end?
Yeah, the whole last season, that's what happened. They weren't winning because of tactics. They weren't out coaching teams. There was no tactical master classes. It was just like, we're gonna play, we're gonna keep the score close, and then we'll score a last minute miracle. But it just the magic hasn't been there this year, and you need tactics. You gotta figure out something that works.
You can blame the players for so much, but you also have to blame the coach. You've been an advocate of like, please, Ancelotti, leave. And it might happen this year if he doesn't win anything because this is a club that does fire you if you don't win anything.
Yeah, I'm not sure if, people were just watching the scoreboards. They see like Madrid's in all these close games, like, oh, they only lost by one goal or they tied or whatever. But if you're actually watching the game, and I think that's what happened after the Champions League round against Arsenal, people are noticing like, hey, like Madrid doesn't even know what they're doing out there. They're just out there playing.
The game versus Arsenal seemed like it was men versus kids. Like, I get it that you have to have an attitude. You need to run. You need a pressure. But then if it doesn't come from all the way from the top, who is Ancelotti's responsibility of placing each player in the correct position or showing them, telling them how he wants them to run, how the system should operate, you're not going to be as efficient, as effective as you should.
Yeah, I think him as a manager, he needs to put them in positions to succeed. The lineup for the first leg against Arsenal, I thought it was terrible. Vinicius playing left wing, Bellingham playing left mid. They're basically marking each other. So it's just a lot of questionable decisions from the manager.
The fact that Madrid doesn't really play anything. They win and it's like a miracle goal or it's been a tight game when it shouldn't be tight games. And that has built up and the exit of Madrid at the Champions League, that's built up some tension at the Bernabeu. Mbappe was being booed. It's like when your own fans boo Mbappe at the Bernabeu, is it just frustration or is it the entire Real Madrid locker room starting to crack?
I think everybody that's associated with Madrid, managers, everybody up top, the players, the fans, I think everybody's frustrated. Oh, Benzema got boos, CR7 got boos. Mbappe's not immune to it. He's gonna get it if he's playing bad. And I don't think he's been playing as bad as he did in the beginning of the season. Vinny's been putting up some stinkers, but yesterday he was the only player out there playing, so you couldn't really boo him. And it happened at the Bernabeu. We're passionate about our team. We expect greatness out of them, and if you're not performing, we're gonna let you know.
Can you really boo Mbappe when he's playing out of his position? Can you really boo Mbappe where obviously it's his first season, but he has a better score record than Cristiano Ronaldo, and he's your lead goal scorer.
They told Trent Alexander, what you did at Liverpool, it does not transfer over to Madrid. You're starting fresh. You're not a legend over there. You're a legend over here. Are you sure you want to go over there? And that's the case with Mbappe. Everything he did, it wasn't in this league. It wasn't in this country. He's starting fresh. It's a brand new player to us. So all those titles he won with PSG, those mean nothing to us. You got to come over here and win something.
Does Valverde's clutch goal save the day or covers up how broken Real Madrid's team play really is?
I mean, it puts 3 points in the table, so it saves the day, but it's not how you want to play for the rest of the season.
We've seen this show and it's been happening week in, week out where like a miracle goal happens. And yes, you get the 3 points, which at the end, that's what matters. But overall, it's been covering up the lack of play and the lack of football that that Real Madrid has.
Yeah, I think Ancelotti only made it this far just off of the fact they were winning. They were pulling off all these miracle comebacks, all these last minute winners. So I think that covered up for Ancelotti, and now that they're not winning those games, I think it's why he is under so much fire right now.
But let's say you fire Ancelotti and you bring in a new technical, you bring in a new coach. Is that coach going to make them run? Is that coach going to make them put everything out in the field? Or is it going to be
You
the
know,
same thing? It's because you have a locker room full of superstars. They go to their national team, they're superstars. They walk out on the street, everybody wants an autograph. Is that new coach really going to make a difference?
you have to bring in the right coach, somebody that's going to know how to manage not only them on the field, but also their egos. And I think you have to bring somebody respected within the club already. Like there's whispers of Xabi Alonso potentially. When Zidane came in, he wasn't really like known for anything coaching wise, but he just has that respect from the players and within the organization.
This roster is way different than what Zidane got. And then Xabi Alonso is respected in the club, but he's never coached any superstars. He's never coached Brazilians with egos. He's never coached Brazilians that rather go party, drink, than train. He's never experienced that.
Yeah, I think just the respect that he has and his tactics, I think the players will listen to him and if they start succeeding, I think they'll love his system and they'll play hard for him. You got Barcelona, they just seemed like they didn't want to play for Xavi anymore. You could tell that team was done with him. They bring in Hansi Flick and they just take off from there. It just takes the right manager.
Madrid on paper was supposed to be the best squad this year. They're not.
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't mean that the players don't have the quality because they do. Each individual player have quality. Your forwards, your three forwards are probably up there with Barca's three forwards, where it's like the best forwards in the world. I'm talking specifically of performance. Your midfield is not good. Even with Ceballos, it's not quality. Okay, so you would have to bring in more midfielders. But obviously, you guys have a different opinion, and you guys believe in your midfielders. In the defense, you bring in one or two players to cover up, and you guys should be good. Especially if you guys get a new manager and he's able to make you guys play. That is potentially the best team in the world
Yeah, I think we could go player for player versus any club.
when it
It's
gets
just
to
Ancelotti
tactics.
doesn't want them. Yeah, they just get outclassed.
Yeah. Hey, but if Real Madrid can barely scrape back past a B team after crashing out of the Champions League, how are they supposed to survive a Copa del Rey final against Barcelona?
If they come in with that same mentality, that same pressure that they were applying to Athletic, I think it's gonna get real ugly, but I think they have a little bit more pride in them, like, hey, like we're not gonna just lay down and let them kill us, run over us. I think they will show up and fight for it, and hopefully it's a lot closer than the previous Clásicos this year.
Hopefully it's not. Hopefully it keeps going.
Yeah, that last Clásico, I checked out early. I was like, man, it's not looking good.
Overall, it's a Clásico, so they're always good. By the way, we are going to be doing a pre and a post game, so make sure to stay tuned because we are going to be live. You're gonna have my boy Manny, and we might have other guests, so it should be interesting. We're gonna give some good coverage of Copa del Rey's Clásico. Manny, well, thank you for being here, brother. Any last words before we sign off?
Hey, y'all check in for those lives. Turn that noti bell on. Make sure you like,
Mhm.
share, subscribe, drop a comment.
Hopefully you enjoy this type of content. If you do, please make sure to like, share, and subscribe. We're here every week talking about football, giving you guys a little bit of our knowledge. And hey, let us know in the comment down below if you guys think we got zero or a hell of a lot of knowledge. We love giving our opinions and having fun and talking about footy. So make sure to like, share, and subscribe. See you here next video.